Hey, CC families, can you believe it is week 9 recap? Here we go. So, as always, we started with geography. We brought back the little pony buttons and we galloped around China. We did call and response the first time, and then we took the horses and galloped around China, and then we galloped up to Mongolia. And then we went down to Beijing and took a swim through the Yellow River to the Red Sea, and then went across the Yangtze River. So then we kind of went backwards and retraced our steps with our little horses, and then again they repeated it, and we did like a call and response for China. And then second, we always do math, and it was skip counting 15s. So today I took post-it notes and put them on the wall, kind of in a swoop on the wall. And since the tune was to the Ants Go Marching, I had thought that I'd have them kind of stand in march, and then one person at a time would get to go touch the post-it notes. I don't know, they didn't really love this one for whatever reason. So I think we will try something different in the future. Maybe the same thing with the post-it notes, so that it's a little bit of a bigger format in which to see them instead of being so small on the whiteboard. But I don't know if they just weren't catching the concept of, march in place and sing the song. They were more like focused on when is it going to be my turn to touch the post-it notes. Then went on to Latin, fourth declension noun endings. So we did, for the singular, we went heads, shoulders, hips, knees, toes, as we went through each syllable. And then we did that, repeat, and then we came up. So for plural, we went toes, knees, hips, shoulders, head. And I spoke the syllables first before I played the song, and then they repeated them back to me so they could hear them really well. And then we sang them with the song and the movements, and they liked that one today. For science, what are some parts of a plant? Some parts of a plant are, and we had leaves, stems, and roots, and they really liked that one because they could visualize that one. And so then we kind of went roots, stem, leaves. And then I'd say, what are some parts of a plant? And then I would show them, they'd say roots, or what are some parts of a plant? And they'd say stems. So we did that for science. English was more prepositions, and it was outside, over, past, regarding, and since was like touch collarbones and bring your fingers down. Since. And I typically will go back a week before, so I went to week 8, so that we can connect, with the transitions, since we're doing it with the Preposition Paradise song. So we did, of, off, on to, out, outside. So we could transition from out, outside, over, past, regarding, since. Then history. So Lao Tzu and Confucius and China. And before we sang the song, I told them to listen for the keywords. I said 6th century BC, 6th century BC, Lao Tzu, and they repeat Taoism, harmony with nature, Confucius, compassion, obedience, kind of back and forth to listen to the words. And then we just kind of sat and sang the song and kind of swayed back and forth. And how the little song says, with nature, or whatever the little harmony was. And they got that part pretty quickly. They picked that up. So that was our history. And then last was timeline. I hid the cards around the room, and they got to go. I had 7 students and 7 cards, so it worked well. They went and grabbed one, brought them to me, and then I showed them the card, and then showed them the hand gesture that went with the card. So we had Byzantine, B for Byzantine, Emperor, cross in the sash, Justinian. And then we did another B, Benedict, and monasticism. And I showed them the picture of the cloak. Then we did an M for Mohammed founds Islam. And I told them that they pray on their knees. So that was why we do that sign. Zanj and early Ghana were trading. They would trade Zanj and early Ghana in Africa. And then Frank's defeat Muslims at the Battle of Tours. And then golden, we do the same sign we always do, golden age of Islam. And then we, ooh. And Vikings, raid, they grab it, raid, and trade. So that was our new grammar, and that was great. We did tin whistle for our fine arts was the second unit that we did. And all of that was outlined on page 94 and page 95. We did a lot of drawing today with the theory.
I want poopy.
Oh, okay, I'll be right there. Okay. Sorry. So we did a lot of drawing today. I don't want to start over and record it. That would be 5 minutes down the drain. So we recorded note values and the staff. And so they got to practice drawing a staff. There are 5 lines. There are 4 spaces. We practiced drawing the treble clef. No, ma'am. We did This Is a Whole Note. This is a half note song. This is a whole note. I don't know if y'all heard that. I guess I'll sing it for you. Ta. And they repeat. This is a half note. Ta, ta. This is a quarter note. Quarter note. Ta, 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 ta. And then this is an 8th note. T, 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 T. And we kind of talked about the different note lengths. We sang through Twinkle, Twinkle, and we talked about how if we said, like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, that one's got 2, and how we listened for the different lengths of the notes. And then we kind of looked at the sheet music and compared how the notes change and how the higher the note is on the staff, the higher the pitch is to our ear. So feel free, if you haven't read it yet, look over page 94, 95. And then we practiced playing whole note. We went around the room and everyone played one, like our low D. And then we played half notes on A. And then we played 4 quarter notes on a D. And then we did the D, D, A, A for Twinkle, Twinkle. And we really worked a lot on 1, 2, ready, play, so that we all played together. And then either have it in a chin position or rest in our lap. Presentation, again, we talked about gestures, and they did great. And then for our science, because we had the weather, this week we did the nature walk for plants. And we had a really good time. I decided to leave the nature journals inside, so we did 15 minutes outside and 15 minutes inside with the nature journal. And we had little baggies, and they collected berries and grass and leaves and flowers and all kinds of little things. And then we looked at some hedges versus a tree. We had a deciduous tree that was, the leaves were yellow and gold and falling off. And we talked about the deciduous tree, and we looked at the cactus and determined if that was a dicot or a monocot. It's a dicot, and why that would be. So we really had a lot of grammar, and we have lots of dogs out lately. Right now they all started barking together. So our nature walk was a success. They stayed with us and found lots of things and really got to use their observation and attending skills. And then we came in and discussed it, and they wrote about it and drew pictures and documented what they found. They were little scientists. So it was a good week. If you have any questions, feel free, reach out. I think that's everything. Hope y'all have a great weekend. See you next time.